Okay, so
Recording in
record
progress.
and hit the timer. And hi, folks. Thanks for streaming. This episode of Yumio to Ohanashi features a screenwriter with accredited screenwriting contest placements such as Page International Awards and the Nicholl, organized by Academy Awards. With her work, Dust on Dirt, Adele Smaill from Adelaide in South Australia. Thanks for joining here, Adele. So can you briefly introduce yourself?
Yep. So basically, I've been writing for about 3.5 years now.
Uh-huh.
And I've been really lucky with Dust on Dirt. That's done pretty well. I've been pretty happy with that. And then my next screenplay, No Ghosts Tonight, just squeaked onto the Coverfly Red List for the first time. So I'm pretty happy about that too. So basically, I mostly write thrillers.
Thrillers. I see. Thank you so much. First of all, can you share your latest accomplishment or your temporary goal?
Yes. So basically, my latest accomplishment was getting No Ghosts Tonight onto the Coverfly Red List, and it just popped on there for about a day. It's gone again now, but it's kind of nice because it suggests that's sort of on the right track. So that script is a thriller that kind of nudges up against social drama, and it's about a young woman who's trying to get home, who forces her way aboard a dinghy with a group of asylum seekers who are trying to cross the English Channel. So it's got a kind of political edge to it.
I see. Thank you.
Yes. And it's been a tricky one to get right. I probably still don't have it right, so I'm still kind of tweaking it and rewriting it.
I see. So wish you great success on that. And I just wondered, when I checked your Coverfly profile, you started winning placements on various contests from 2022. Did you challenge those contests before?
No. I didn't. I started writing quite late. So I started writing in really early 2021.
Oh, really?
So really kind of into the pandemic. The pandemic had started.
Yes. Same as me.
Yeah. And I started out writing pilots. I tried a competition with one of my pilots, didn't get anywhere. And then I kind of swapped over to writing features pretty early on because I realized I had more chance that way. And I was really lucky with Dust on Dirt. I had a really good script consultant, and so I learned a lot from him, and I'll probably talk a little bit more about him later on because I totally recommend him as someone to work with. I was lucky. In some ways, I had a harder time writing my next script than I did writing my first script.
I see. Yes, congratulations on your latest success on emerging screenwriters quarterfinalists. Because that one is pretty difficult to land on because many of my fellow screenwriters says that getting into the quarterfinalists is much difficult than getting into semifinalists or finalists because a lot of those second round or quarterfinalists, the wall is very thick, and lots of those unfortunate writers encounter those bad readers, they cannot read it well. I see. So that's great to hear that. So when did you discover the genre writing?
So when did I discover that I was a writer? I've always kind of written in my work. So I'm a data analyst. My day job, I'm a data analyst and I'm a programmer. And so that work's always involved some technical writing. So statistical reports and sometimes a bit of writing policy documents, so not for a long time now. So I always had that thing of having to write as part of my work. And I guess a few years ago, I tried writing a novel, couldn't figure out how to finish it, sort of wrote, and it just drifted. But what really got me writing screenplays was I watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer in 2021, and I really loved it. Like, I had missed it the first time round, but I saw it later on. And I read some of the screenplays for it, and I thought, I could give this a go. So I really just tried, and I knew absolutely nothing when I started out. The only things I really knew was that the dialogue kind of goes in the middle of the page. And I knew that a minute was about a minute of screen time.
Yes,
So
1 page per minute. Yes, that's a
yeah, I
screenplay.
knew that. And that was about it. But I guess the thing I did have going for me was I knew that I didn't know what I was doing. So I was looking stuff up as I went, in terms of, how to handle formatting, that sort of thing.
I see, because
Um,
the same goes with me, because when I started to study screenwriting, Cobra Kai, when we were in pandemic back in 2020, like a fall season, I watched Cobra Kai and I was shocked because the Cobra Kai filled with those conflicts and drama, and that's what I wanted to. So that's a very
yeah.
starting point, and we cannot know when we want to start. So now, how do you brainstorm when composing scenes, dialogues, and so on?
So the first time I kind of go through a scene, um, so basically, like probably see me on Twitter quite a lot, and usually if I'm on Twitter, then I
Yes,
also have my
I know.
script
Yes.
open. So pretty much any time I'm on Twitter, I've got a script open. So mostly I do most of my writing and most of my brainstorming in front of the computer.
I see.
And most of my writing is rewriting. I'm not a quick writer. So basically, like I did Dust on Dirt, and then I've got No Ghost Tonight. I've been writing 3.5 years, and I've really only got 2 scripts that are kind of out and about.
I
So
see.
I'm quite slow.
I see. And
Um,
because I kind of found that I think like 2022, when I started Twitter, and 1 year passed, I noticed this hashtag, the first page Friday, and this hashtag is
yes.
pretty interesting because every Friday some those amateur screenwriters upload their first page, and it's very interesting to read those. And
Yeah, and I do that
yes,
definitely. Like I put mine
yes, I
up.
noticed that. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Um,
And how about how do you compose your characters and dialogues? So from experience or kind of other things?
so there's a lot of kind of asking questions that I do. So they for some of my characters, there's quite a bit of research. So for No Ghost Tonight, especially, it was I did a lot of research as I was writing for that, because those are characters who have made a really dangerous journey. So in my protagonist's case, she's been kind of forced out of the UK, and then she's traveled really across the whole of Europe to try to get back home. So there's a lot of kind of research that goes alongside that for her. But I tend to do that alongside writing. What I find is if I just get stuck into the research and I'm not writing as well, then it's really easy to not write. So I try to
Yeah,
do
sure.
them in tandem. And I guess when I'm writing dialogue and when I'm writing scenes, I do a lot of thinking about where's that character in the moment. So like, are they exhausted? What's their mood? What have they just reacted to? What are they responding to?
Yes,
What
yes,
kinds
organic.
of things? Yes, there's a lot of just asking
I
questions
see.
and a lot of rewriting. For me, it's probably about 90% rewriting, 10% writing new things.
I see. Thank you for sharing that kind of your opinion. Okay, how about when composing an action sequence, do you first image it in your brain to visualize, or tossing words onto word, or do you have your own way to do that?
Um, I just try to get something down. And so um, that's the first thing, is just get something on the
I
page,
see.
even if it's not very good. And then it's kind of, then I'll think about, okay, how can I make it harder? Like, so can I do harder for them? So can I give them 2 problems that they've got to try and solve at once? That can sometimes be a useful kind of thing to do. And sort of think about, okay, so who's seeing what? So what specific details? Because when you look around, like in your ordinary life, right, when you're kind of moving through the world, you're not seeing everything equally. It's
No,
like you'll see this
impossible.
detail and that detail and that detail. So kind of what details do I want them to to focus in on. And also kind of by the time you get to those really big kind of showdown sequences, you've often made choices in the script already that kind of shape what can actually happen. So even if you don't know, like you usually know you at least know who's going to be alive and who's going to be dead at the end of your action scenes.
Yes,
Like I find I usually know who I'm going to kill. So that helps. But a lot of it really is rewriting. Sometimes I'll draw out maps. So for some of my scenes, having a map, knowing where people are physically, that's helpful because you want to make sure that what you're writing is something that an actor could physically do. So I'll be trying to think about that as I'm doing it as well.
Exactly. Thank you so much for sharing that. So how about can you name your recommended 3 books that quickly popped in your mind?
I can show you 2 of them.
Sure.
So this is The Language of the Night.
Language of the Night.
And this is it's a collection of essays by Ursula K. Guin. And she's a science fiction writer and a fantasy writer who wrote the Earthsea Quartet. And it's a brilliant collection of essays on writing, specifically on science fiction and fantasy, which I don't actually write. I'm just starting to draft out some work on a science fiction thriller at the moment. But they're a fabulous read. They're sort of little short essays. Some of them are about kind of more technical aspects of writing, but mostly it's about the kind of I'm trying to think of how to put it, kind of the enterprise of writing in a way, not the business side, but what you're trying to do when you're actually trying to write. And then the next one would be Samuel Delany's Tales of Neveryon. This is the first of this is the first of a high fantasy sequence that is about 4 volumes, and they're just absolutely stunningly brilliant. He wrote this one it's not a new book. It's like came out in 1979, I think. Yes, 1979. So it's not new in any way, but it's one of those books that, you know how some books they just kind of crawl into your head and they just take up residence. This is one of those books. So if you haven't read it, go read it. And the other one, since I'm kind of on a fantasy kind of kick at the moment, is Iain M. Banks' book Inversions, which is Iain M. Banks was a Scottish writer who wrote both science fiction and regular novels as well, kind of contemporary novels. And Inversions is actually a fantasy novel, but it's kind of set in his science fiction universe. And it's really clever because it's these 2 stories that kind of entwine, and they start out, you think that you're reading 2 separate stories, and then you realize that the stories are kind of talking to each other. And it's really so cleverly constructed, and it's quite it's an emotionally powerful story as well. So it's not just that it's intellectually clever, it's a moving story.
I see. Thank you so much. And we're running out of time, so let's wrap up.
Okay,
so any message to those watching this interview?
Sorry?
So any message to those watching this interview? Any message to the viewers?
Basically, I just keep rewriting. Rewriting is just really key. Giving your scripts time is, well, I find it's really key.
I see.
And that's hard to do because you get something written and you want to get it out there. But getting notes, being willing to just start again if you have to. I've had to do that a few times. That's really important. And finding someone who will really tell you if what you've done is not good.
Yes, that is very important because we always need to have somebody read your work and try to give the advice. So finally, what is the most encouraging phrase that you recite when you want to pump up your motivation or crawl up from rock bottom?
I just try and remind myself, this isn't a zero-sum game. It's not a case of, if you win, that means someone else loses, or if someone else wins, that means you lose. It's not like that. It's not tennis. It's not chess. It's very much something where, you know, you kind of help each other get better, hopefully. So it's one of those things where reading other people's scripts, you learn a lot from that. So yeah, it's not a zero-sum game. That's something I kind of keep reminding myself.
I see. Thank you so much, Adele. So, okay. Thank you so much, Adele. So, her work is honorable contest placement. It's called Dust on Dirt. So, folks, if you're interested in Adele, please follow her account at TheartofCharts. Truly appreciate your participation in this segment, Adele. So, wish you great success and we'll keep in touch.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you.